You got it. Yeah, I know. Purpose. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, just to mess with you.
Crazy. Oh, that's right, the new guy. What's the new guy's name? I forget it. Now, here comes the boss.
You didn't quit yet.
There.
That's good to see
This
you.
is his face.
How you settling in, okay? Good, glad to hear that.
And here we are. Okay. Uh-oh.
Sorry.
It didn't quit yet. That's a good sign.
Hi, Alex. You know?
Hey, how are you? Good, see you.
Wherever you live. Hair clip. I just like to.
Okay, we're recording, so I'm going to call the Human Services Committee for September 1st to order. First order of business is courtesy of the floor. Is there anyone who would like to speak to the committee under courtesy of the floor from the public? Seeing no one, we'll close that. And we'll go on to the agenda, which I received from the department. And the first up is report from Graysdale. So please, if you would, Jen.
I would. Hello. All right, so as Dawn is handing that out, I did want to go over some great news, which I know has already hit the news, was our star rating has gone to 3 stars, and our health inspection is 4 stars, which is incredible given the fact that we had been hit with COVID over the last 2.5 years. So I'm very proud of my team, and each and every member of Graysdale's team contributed to this.
Thank you.
Wait. There's more handouts. So I'm also handing out some good news, Family Fest invitations.
Oh, yeah.
So that is on the 13th from 4 to 6:30. We're very, very happy about this. We have, I believe, over 100 and something families signed up for it, including children. It's going to be like a carnival-like setting. We're very, very excited over this. So
Excellent.
you'll see it. So please come if you can.
Okay. Well, if you want to get started.
All right.
Go ahead.
So for August, our census was 403. Currently, today's census is 408. Open beds are 283. We've had 300 referrals for August. We had 18 admissions, 42 people on the wait list. We had 12 discharges. Our PPD for August was 2.95. We've hit days where we've been 3.4, 3.5 was one day, so we are moving in the right direction. Mentionables are, we had a booth at the Music Fest, which was really nice to have. We had a lot of positive people come up. We got a few people who were interested in jobs, but a lot of people were talking about the memories of Graysdale and how they had their families there and how great it was. So that was very nice. Our improvements we're working on right now in our dietary department. We have one portion of Point Click Care, which is our dietary menu program. So we are going to go away from the papers and trying to keep track of it and the alternates and going to a system where it's going to be almost like the hospital where you have a tablet or an iPad and you can do your menus right on there and it goes right into the kitchen on the computer system. So it has your likes and dislikes. We still use the plastic cards that have to get collected and brought down to the kitchen every night. So this is going to revamp our whole kitchen dietary system. So we're very excited about that. And then our COVID numbers for August on average were we had about 4 residents and 3 staff members on average that had COVID over August.
Is there anything else you want to say before I ask if there's any?
Nope, questions. And then I do, after we answer the questions, I do have our nursing department admin is full now. We have a new assistant director of nursing, so we'll introduce her after we have questions.
Okay. Yeah, there'd be questions for you. Questions for Ms. King, anybody? Mr. Kusick?
Yeah, I had, first of all, I wanted to applaud the increase in the PPD. Just looked on the state website, it said 2.94, so congratulations, you appear to be headed in the right direction. One of the things we left hanging out there when we approved the bonuses and the extra funding was agency nursing. We wanted to wait and see how you did. Can you comment on where we are with that?
We're working on getting the final figures. We do not need that money yet. We're still well within our own
Well,
money.
That's good to hear.
Yes. So for now, it is good. We're trying to decrease, obviously, dependency. We've had an increase in hirings. We just had one full class of CNAs plus one LPN that are going to be ours. We've had a lot of interest from agencies becoming our staff members. They have to, we can either buy them out or they have to use their time, which is about 450 hours. So we're telling them to run through their time and then we'll take them on. So we've had quite a few people do that. But we're within our constraints on the money right now.
The other thing we approved was significant bonuses. Any feedback on how effective those are in attracting additional employees?
I can get you more information, but from what I've heard and from people, they're very excited. A lot of people actually stayed with us because of the bonus system. I had people who were ready to retire, but they wanted to stay for the next 4 years. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's good. And the other thing that I see here is, it appears to me that the smaller census is in fact making you more effective. Would you like to comment on that? I think that this may be something to consider.
And we are considering all aspects. That's something that we do talk about, and we are in the planning stages of trying to figure out where that number will lie.
Okay.
Yep. But so we'll have more information as we go on. We need to stabilize first, and then we can really, less dependency on agency, and then we'll have the good numbers for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that it, John? Any other questions? If not, Jen, you said what you just had mentioned, the lower numbers. And I know the executive has spoken, I think, like, once we get through one crisis type of situation, I think we all had to consider, like, what is the Graysdale's best effective number?
Right.
Because we're probably not where we were years and years ago, where we needed 700 odd beds. We can function with less. I still firmly support the concept of Graysdale and the population we serve. But I think that's going to be a challenge, is what can we sustain without extreme costs?
Right.
And how many beds, how much staff, how many people, so on and so forth. And speaking of staff, you mentioned some CNAs. Where are we now with the different categories, where our weaknesses are? I do know you've come a long way, and I think that's great. I'm glad the bonuses are helping long-term, because that's what we really need, people to stay with us. How are you now with any, like, real needs in terms of the classification or even the shifts?
We're still, if you're talking about our own staff across all shifts.
Yes, our own staff, forgetting
Our own
agency.
staff, we have the agency supplementing. Right now, we're looking for RNs, but that's a challenge even in the hospitals right now to get RNs in. We have our dedicated RNs that are on our staff, but we would like to see more. And the aides are coming in now, so we're
The
happy.
CNAs, we're getting? Okay, that's good. I'm glad. And so when the measures we've taken overall are having an impact from your perspective?
Yeah, I even think the marketing that we're doing with the Paid for Life, it's getting people in the door to ask the question, how do you get that?
Yeah, that's good. And the only, there's one other thing. Oh, COVID. And I know that's sort of dropping off for most people. COVID's off the radar screen. But in your case, that, we can't go that way. What measures do you have in effect or that are still in effect, or you've decided to put something in effect regarding visiting staff or residents?
Visiting is the same, so it's an open visitation. What we did is we did try the surgical mask. We had a small outbreak, but we're back to N95s because we found that it's tried and true. It kept our numbers down, so we are back to N95s. It's tough to work in, but it has kept us low numbers.
If
So
they go to a staff, I guess I was wondering, like, I know in the old days, people would go outside, have a cigarette. Is there a place they can go and take off their mask if they want to have some freedom?
absolutely, yes.
I just thought that might be an issue. I don't know why, but, so you have, it's still open visitation, but the people are still wearing the masks.
Correct.
Okay, well, that's good. Ms. Vargo Hefner, you came in late. She gave her report. You have it in front of you, I think. Did you have any questions you'd like to ask Jen? Because she has the nursing staff here or anything based on the report? Oh, well, said they're doing pretty good, so we'll see. And you got an invitation to the Family Fest. All right, if there's no other questions for Jen specifically, I'll go ahead. You have,
I do. So we did hire an assistant director of nursing. So our admin team is full as far as our admin. I have Stephen, and now Dawn has Marion and Tracy. So I'd like to introduce Tracy Nagel, and she can tell you a little bit about herself, but I'm excited that we have a good team together.
okay, go ahead.
Hello, I am Tracy Nagel. I am a critical care nurse from back when. I've done a number of different things from nurse liaison to case management, physician practice management. I was an executive operations lead for Fellowship Community. I was the executive director for them for 7 years. And then I was an executive operations lead for Signify Health, a national healthcare company, working with post-acute facilities to improve process and care redesign. So I've been a nurse for over 20 years, and I'm really excited to be here. This is an extraordinarily dynamic team. Can't wait to see what comes next. It's really exciting. They're the reason I decided I wanted to come to Graysdale. Any
Great.
questions?
Good. Thank you. I don't know if anybody has any questions, but I think we all would agree that we wish you the best, and thank you for coming on board, and I hope everything goes great.
Thank you. Me too.
You're welcome. Thank you. Did you want nursing otherwise, anything? All right, so since everybody's here and you're done with all the reports, are there any questions for Graysdale specifically in any way, shape, or form at this time? If not, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. No, you can leave. This will be quick. I'm just wondering, where are we at with the, I apologize, where are we at with daycare?
Oh,
Oh, well then, you can go and we're finished. And Sue will come up and we'll do Sue. Have a good night. Thank you all.
Actually, I was just telling Mr. McClure that I got an email sometime this week from Mike Amealy. The architect's plans are finalized, so the daycare folks gave input, we gave input, O&M gave input, and the architects are working on turning those into construction plans for us to put that out to bid. So that should be coming imminently in order to get that work done. So that's where we're at on the daycare.
So the bids are being put together.
We have to put it out for bid, so it's not been posted yet. That's
Okay.
what the architect has to, whatever they do on their end to finalize them into construction plans
So it's
with
still
all
in
the
the architect's
specs.
hands.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
but we should have that soon from them.
Okay, That's, I mean, I just thank you. So if you want to just do your report, whatever you wanted to do.
Part of my report, I was going to give some updates on Veterans Affairs, but Alex Carrillo was able to be with us. So if you don't mind, I can have him give you guys some updates first, and then I can give you the rest of mine.
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alex, the Director for Veterans Affairs, as you may be aware. So since being in the office, we've been doing more community events since things have been opening up post-COVID. So I've been invited to a few town halls with Congresswoman Wild's office, and we have I have the privilege to also be involved with the Memorial Day Parade in downtown Easton, so I was able to participate in the parade. And it's a great event, great to see the community out there supporting the veterans and honoring them, and as well as doing the Veterans Day celebrations in November. So some of the things, like as I was mentioning, doing a lot of town halls, getting more involved with the VFWs and American Legions. We did 2 Vietnam veterans pinning ceremonies. One was with Congresswoman Wild, the other one was with Senator Toomey, who was present as well, 2 different occasions. And most recently, our office participated at Scott Park for the AARP, like a senior fair that was just held, I think, over this past weekend. So our office has been, and as I mentioned, just involved with our community, doing outreach. Been in the office now going on 2 years, but I have still hear that veterans come to my office and they're unaware of their benefits, or they'll come to my office and say, we didn't know your office was here. So that prompted me to apply for a grant, like a state grant through our state, to do more outreach. So we did receive a grant to be able to have funding to give, just to provide awareness, that these services are out there for our veterans, that our office is present and here to serve the community. Let me see. And then also, as you guys may have been hearing the news, about 2 weeks ago, August 10th, the president signed the PACT Act, which improved eligibility for healthcare for our veterans. And it also extended or expanded certain medical conditions that veterans can apply that are called presumptive, so that it expands their eligibility to get compensated for these illnesses that they may obtain during their time in service. So I don't know if you guys have any questions in regards to that specifically or anything, but that was just my update with what's been going on with the VA office.
So is that it, Alex, for what you have to say present? I mean, I just let you finish. If there's more you want to say before I open it up to questions.
Yes, I believe so. That's all.
Okay. Anybody with any questions for Alex? Mr. Kusick?
I don't know if you wanted to comment on this, but it seems like I'm being constantly bombarded seeing ads for if you've ever served at Camp Lejeune.
Yes, I've been.
Can you comment on that? What is that about?
I've been hearing it on the radio a lot as well, fairly recently. So it's, they're not through the VA, so it's kind of like a private practice or like an attorney's office that is reaching out, and they're filing their own, I would assume, civil lawsuits against the Marines, not necessarily against the VA. The VA is a separate, department. So veterans can still file for disability through the VA. Those ads that you hear are completely separate from that. So that's them filing their own civil lawsuit through, like a civil lawsuit court.
Did Congress set money aside? Am I missing something on that? Because it's ubiquitous, the commercials, they're everywhere.
I mean, I don't have an exact answer for that, just my own opinion, because of this PACT Act that was just recently passed. I think that just brought more awareness to the public, and maybe that's what's being talked about, which might have prompted, certain other offices to try to do the outreach, to get more services for the veterans.
Yeah, the other question I had is, who puts the flags out at the cemeteries?
Those are usually could be volunteers, family members, but usually we have volunteers, either, like a group of Boy Scouts or the American Legions, the local surrounding American Legions, VFWs. But those are distributed from our office, so they come from our office. We distribute them mostly before Memorial Day and throughout the year as needed.
Because I just wanted to compliment the work at the Robsville Cemetery. I walk by it every day. It looks beautiful.
Great.
So I just wanted to thank whoever
Okay.
did that.
I'll pass the word along, yes.
Any other questions for Alex? Mr. Lott?
Just a comment. The guys at our American Legion are thrilled with, I mean, it seems like a simple thing, go down and get the flags from the county, but it wasn't always a simple thing, they tell me. So they're very happy with I don't know what you changed or what's different, but they say it's different. They come down there and it's set up, ready to go for them. They're in and out, and they get their flags and they go to the cemetery and put them on. So I don't know what you changed, but they like it. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Alex, I think, and what Mr. Cusick brought up, it sounds to me, I've seen those commercials, and it's like the letters a retiree will get now, and then it's all this printing on it, and you think it's coming from the government, and it turns out it's coming from some guy somewhere, wants a class action suit. It almost sounds to me, what I've heard is that they found contamination in the water at Lejeune, and it may even take on the whole, almost like a domestic version of Agent Orange, because I remember initially the only way Agent Orange came into prominence was civil suits, and it took a long time for the guys from Vietnam to finally get to the point where the government accepted that there was a problem and a responsibility. And I know my brother-in-law, he had that issue for years, and then finally they acknowledged that in fact it was a problem. And I'm getting the same sort of deja vu sense with this Camp Pendleton thing, that right now the government hasn't said much about it, but it could very well end up coming, especially with this new health care, if they push and guys are going in and getting tested or whatever, the water.
Yes, you're correct with the similarities between Agent Orange and the water contamination at Camp Lejeune. So there are certain conditions that they've been already studied that they're presumptive. So that meaning that if a veteran was there, they have to have at least 30 days being in Camp Lejeune. Doesn't have to be consecutive days, but if they were there 30 days and they obtained those, there's 8 illnesses, 8 conditions. If they're diagnosed with that, it's almost automatic they're going to get compensated. So
Okay.
it's similarly like Agent Orange.
I applaud your outreach. I think veterans, even though your office, most of the benefits are a federal affair, it's great, though, to be able to walk in somewhere, because things could be confusing, and have somebody, we don't do it, but I can direct you to A, B, C, or D, so I applaud that. And as far as the flags go, I agree. I know over the years, we were always told the VFW guys will come in and do it. You said the scouts and do we have any, have you noticed, or has anybody come to the office concerned that there's certain spots that they're not getting to, or areas that may not be covered, or because I mean, think about all the cemeteries in Northampton County. I mean,
Not as far as like a whole cemetery per se, as a whole, but just family members that they'll notice, their the deceased veteran flag or the marker is not present. So that I get calls for that, constantly. So, but as far as the large scale, like we have throughout the year that volunteers will come in and get, the markers.
okay.
To put
Yeah, and
out
I'm
there, and
glad
the
now the
flags.
markers are a resin-type marker. The old brass ones looked really great, but boy, they went flying, if people are willing to rip down gutters for copper, anything, I think that was a wise move to go to
Yeah, I think they're aluminum now. I think.
Aluminum?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, well, that was all. I just had a couple questions. Thank you, Alex. Anyone then, before I just say thank you? And before Sue runs out the door here, anything for any of her other divisions or areas? Oh, she's not done anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Alex.
No, I have some other things for folks. Alex has been doing a great job, and I know he's been here a couple of times, and Mr. Lott, I'm with you. I hear nothing but compliments, and I know that's a testament to Alex, so. Just a couple of quick items on, actually one item on Graysdale, because you asked about the daycare. Jen had sent me a week or two ago, one of our residents had passed away. And within the body of the obituary that they posted, at the end of it, I just wanted to read what they shared because it was contained within the obituary. It says, Carmen's family wishes to thank the staff and caregivers at Graysdale for their unmatched care and compassion they showed to Carmen and their family. And although I'm just noticing this now, in lieu of flowers, they asked for contributions to be made to Graysdale. So I actually will follow up on that in terms of the donation piece. But it's, a testament to the care that folks are getting there, that even within the obituaries, people are commenting on it. So I just wanted to share that. A couple of CYF updates. We had our Title IV-E audit sometime in July. So without getting too far into the weeds, Title IV-E funds are federal funds that we receive for youth in care if they meet certain eligibility criteria. And that audit this year received a 100% compliance, which I am told is only the second time in recent years that they've done that. So I just wanted to give the fiscal folks some credit there. And last time I was here, we talked about I mentioned the vacancies in CYF. So I had some additional information to provide clarification for folks. So I'm going to throw out some numbers, and I can repeat anything you need me to. So when I arrived in January of 2018, we had a total of, make sure I get it right, 128 positions in CYF, and that was everything. That was caseworkers, fiscal staff, it's everybody. Since that time, the state has provided us with 36 additional positions. So that takes us now to 164 positions in children and youth. So when I arrived, there was vacancies within children and youth, of course, as there always are. We had 115 people in seats, I like to say. So that's how many people were working in children and youth, 115 folks. And as of, what's now September 1st, I realize, but as of August, we had 126 employees in seats at Graysdale, at Children and Youth. So even though we have a higher amount of vacancies, those actually are primarily attributed to the 36 positions we've accrued over the 4 years, which, of course, as you know, in my opinion, we need to have filled and are working on that. But we are fortunate at least to have 11 more people in seats today than we did 4 years ago. And most of those positions have been created, as you guys know, to meet the anticipated like caseworker to supervisor ratios and caseload for each caseworker moving forward, which have not yet been implemented. The good news is we actually went probably about 6 months without many folks applying on the civil service list. And that was pretty much across the board for DHS, but in particular CYF, of course, notices that. So in July and August, we finally had abundant lists of folks who have applied for jobs. So for example, of those 38 vacancies, 5 of them had been clerical staff. As of a week ago, we had offers out to folks that accepted, and those will all be full. We have 23 caseworker vacancies, and of those, we have 9 offers, of which some have already accepted, and we have start dates, and we're working on the rest. We have 1 offer out to a casework supervisor, and as I said, the typist positions, those offers have all been extended and accepted.
How many caseworkers have you've accepted? You had 23 vacancies, I'm sorry, and you then threw out a number.
9, so we have 9 offers out there, and some of, I don't want to give an exact number, because it's just fluid from really hour to hour, but some folks have already accepted those, and the remaining folks were either considering or were playing phone tag with. So even with all of that, I've talked about this before, we are running out of room at DHS, so even with our vacancies, we have seats assigned for all of those folks, but in fact, the positions that the state allotted us and council approved of, I think sometime last year, the beginning of this year, for developmental programs, we took one of our last remaining storage closets and turned it into 3 cubicles. It's actually very nice. It was a large storage closet. So we have maximized every nook and cranny in the building. So that's, before I move on to the next thing, are there any questions on that? Because that was a lot of numbers.
Question, sure. Ms. Zirinsky.
So if you have all these vacancies and you have no space, where would you put the people?
No, we have spaces, we have space for all of the positions we currently have. So there's desks waiting for folks to come in.
Oh.
Yes, so
So when you say 164 vacancies,
we have seats for all of those
you do?
people, yes.
Okay, but you're still creating spaces out of,
Well, that's how many folks we have just on the 2nd floor in children and youth. So developmental programs, for example, is on the 3rd floor. So when we got the 3 new positions for those folks, we took a storage closet and converted it into 3 cubicles because we have no more space for a single additional cubicle on our 3rd floor, or the 2nd floor, or the 1st floor, anywhere. So, yeah, as you guys know, I think JPO has a spot in children in, sure.
We need another office building, and so
McClure, you're right.
thank you. We need another office building. She was going down a road that she's not authorized to
good.
speak
Go
about. We need another office building, and the question is, are we going to buy one or build one? And so we've really started the process of trying to determine, what's best, renting, owning, where it will be. I don't want to get us into something that's not going to meet our needs. As Sue said, DCED's out there. I'm going to try and bring them back here, but I don't know if I have enough room here. They don't really belong there. They belong here. JPO is out there. I don't know why juvenile probation is out there. We need to find some place for them as well, because that's taking up an office suite. And so when she finally fills these positions, after we get out of civil service one day, we're going to need more space. And the question is just where and what. So the reason I interrupted her is it's coming, and I'll be before you one day about a new office building. It just is a matter of when, where, and how. Sorry.
Thank you. I think it was somewhat of a lost opportunity. Well, that's true, I forget. There was a height limitation in Bethel
Yes.
Township, so it wouldn't have mattered.
is that why you can't build more
Yes.
on it?
Yeah.
3
I don't
stories
even
is the
think
max.
You can spread laterally.
No,
No, all right.
no, we can't take up any more footage on the,
Yeah.
Because you have to have a number of parking spaces. We're out of room there.
yep, we're out
But,
of parking
and-
spaces too.
Yeah. And Ms. Zirinsky, so you still have the,
I'm still trying to hand motion.
oh,
Like,
Is that a parking garage?
it's a parking garage. See? Sounds like you got it, parking garage. And so, can you put a parking garage there so that
Nope.
you can make it wide? No. it's
Nope,
just
nothing.
Nothing's gonna work.
I can't even put a swing set there, if you really want to know, so. No more, nothing.
Just ask.
anything else?
No, but thank you. I appreciate you letting me speak.
My pleasure. Anybody else have questions? John, Ms. Kuzic.
Yeah, I'll just say, because I was here when we built that building, and there was no intention for economic development to be there. That was not part of the plan, and neither the juvenile piece either. So before I would even consider purchasing or renting another building, I would like to see those entities moved somewhere closer to the courthouse. But,
Can I respond to that?
yes.
So we really are out of space, and there are other entities, some not under my control, that are also growing and need more space. So we're truly out of space. I might be able to shoehorn DCED back into this facility, but it'll be really difficult. We're out of space, and there's no room anywhere for JPO. I've had Mr. Emili canvass the entire,
Neighborhood?
yeah, and there's nowhere for us to grow. I understand your fiscal restraint, I share it, but we're out of room.
Mr. McClure, before you go, and you know what? Actually putting people in big closets, when we still had Bechtel and we still had Governor Wolf, you'd be shocked at some of the places we had to shove a desk and to fit people in here and there. So that's not new. But tailing on with what Mr. Cusick said, if we have to make a tough decision, or if we have to look into, would it be something we'd be considering that building that's out in Bethlehem Township would get, Human Services would get the entire thing? And we'd really be talking about the other area, the other entities. I know you don't want to hear, but if looking for a solution, would we possibly be looking, say, okay, well, we think they're okay if we get that building, but now we have to look at economic development, we have to look at JPO, whether it's here or another building.
For the time being, if we could relocate DCED and JPO, Human Services could be fine in that building alone. But I think Sue will tell you that eventually they're going to spill out of there, and they'll need a little bit more room too.
What about the twins, the twin houses that, remember your first year or so, we got those houses knocked down? That space.
Right. It would we have talked about building there. It would probably be very difficult to build the kind of building that you would need there. But it's an option. We at least own that land, and we could put something there. So if we choose to build, we could choose to build there.
Yeah, because we have then that other stone, like the lots, I mean.
Whatever we do, though, we want to make sure, because I'm not sure at the time we appreciated how much room we had at Wolf and Bechtel, right? And I'm not sure Human Services accommodated all the room that we had in those two buildings. And we're growing. Look, she's accepted 36 positions from the state in the last 4.5 years. So, and we talked about this when we were deciding, should we ask council to accept these positions? And our feeling was, we don't know when they're going to stop offering them to us, right? So we needed to take them when we took them. And unfortunately, we're running out of space.
Human Services is our big pie in the county, and it's a labor-intensive field. I mean, there's no way around it. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm sorry. Before you go back, I don't know. Oh, Sue. I guess you're not needed, Mr. McClure.
No, I just had one other question about the vacancies.
Sure.
Can you maybe, at one time, posting things or just putting on a website was enough? What are we doing more of now to recruit to fill those positions that, say, back when Mr. Heckman was in charge, that
Looks different now?
yes.
That's a good question. So, sorry, that got really loud. We recently started having HR also post the CYF positions on Indeed. So they have an Indeed account, and so we've been doing that. They've, for years, have occasionally gone to the local colleges. I think I might have talked about that. Like local schools who have social work programs. One of the great things, we have two programs in children and youth. One is CWEL and one is CWEB. And I get them confused, but one of them is you can go back for your master's paid for by the state while being a full-time employee. The other one is you can be an intern your senior year of college and get your credits and all that, and then you're already certified, and if you choose to, you can be employed by the county as a caseworker after you graduate. And so we take advantage of both of those, and so we, over the years, have definitely had interns who've also stayed. So that's what we're talking about now is, so we really are close to civil service. The last number was submitted by my assistant at the end of last week. And I will tell you, we've found somebody at the state who has just been absolutely phenomenal and completely responsive, and has told us she has dedicated time on her calendar to specifically get through this last pile of its salary info for the last 4 years for caseworkers. So it's tedious. But that's the last thing, and so knock on wood, hopefully we really are getting towards the finish line, and that will help. But that's what we're talking about now, is what can we do outside of the box now, like we've done for Graysdale, to let people know about these positions.
Yeah, so besides a major in social work, what other majors, because right now there's a lot of
Yes.
consternation about certain majors that people may choose to undertake as part of their college choice. Are there other majors that you actively seek out for these positions when you do these campus recruiting?
Sure. So psychology, generally speaking, we could focus on psychology, sociology, criminal justice even. But if I'm not mistaken, and if you know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, really any bachelor's degree in any kind of similar human services kind of field is acceptable. What happens is, if you haven't had social work or if you haven't had certain work experience, you can come in the door as a caseworker 1, and after your 120 or 140 hours of state training, and after you finish probation, you're automatically promoted to a caseworker 2. So preferably when we hire people, we're hiring caseworker 2s, because either they have a little bit of work experience or they have the particular degree that we're looking for. But we definitely have hired more caseworker 1s over the past 4 years than I think they had in a long time, because we recognized that it was a way to get people into children and youth. And that's why we have probation, and we all know children and youth isn't for everybody, so some folks get in and decide it's not for them, but it still gives us a chance to get folks who we maybe historically would not have.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? A question that, so just when, sometimes Mr. Cusick and my thoughts align. I don't know if that's a good thing or a not so good thing. Maybe it's just a sign of age or experience or some
Sorry, Mr. Cusick.
emotional or mental issue. But the thing is, I wanted to ask you about that, because I know we deviated from caseworker 1s because it was almost like that took long and we had time. But now, you get into the crunch of people who have experience or have the degrees. Can somebody at this, as of today, because I don't really know, if somebody had an associate's degree in something related, would you hire them if they really wanted to, if had a good interview as a caseworker 1, and then they would take courses to get the 2 level?
The answer is yes, but I can give you more information, and I only learned this in the last year. Interestingly, I think you only need 15 or 18 credits maybe, but if you don't have an associate's, or if you don't have a bachelor's degree, then you need relevant work experience. So I'll give you an example without naming the person. We had somebody come in as a case aide a few years ago, and once this person had the requisite amount of experience that PA requires, she was able to be promoted to a caseworker, and then in the meantime went on to finish her bachelor's degree. So it doesn't happen often, but it's something that we've just started talking about in terms of college recruitment. We've talked about NAC in particular, and I think it's a smaller kind of niche area, because it's definitely a special person coming out of that didn't necessarily already choose to go to school for a 4-year degree that might be interested, but yes, and so with the right person, absolutely.
Well, I'm thinking too, because let's say somebody went and they were thinking then, and I don't blame them, given today's cost of college. I mean, we hear that all the time. It's insane. It really is insane. They may want to go that route, but they don't have the money. And I'm thinking, well, if they wanted to do this, our tuition, our program, we'd basically be paying in many ways to help them get that. And for at least the time it takes to get that, I mean, sure, they could get their bachelor's and leave, but we have that everywhere, where people get something and leave.
Sure.
But I just wondered about that. And as far as a bachelor's, I know it was always a case where you wanted certain amounts, but just about any bachelor degree, you could come in and we'd work it out somehow.
I think that's probably still true. We don't get too many, we have two people I can think of, for example, that were history majors
Yeah.
and came in. That
Social
doesn't
studies.
happen often,
Yeah.
but it certainly happens occasionally, yep.
Okay, and and I guess we haven't moved yet, we're still working on getting our own in-house. But I mean, if that happens, I'm still gonna go where the unions get mad at me, the employees get mad at me, but I'm gonna stick with it. I still say children, youth, and families should have a separate classification system than any other caseworkers, just based on the job they do between the courts and the families and everything else. It's really not the same as other areas. And that's why I think you lose people within your department and out. I mean, it's a very difficult division. Not that they're all, don't have their issues, but I hope you have good luck going forward
Thank you.
in that. So children, youth, and families, anything on that? Otherwise, we'll just move on.
I just have a couple other quick things for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Our aging division they had some probably COVID grant money, and so they ran some additional billboards. It's not additional, we never run billboards for aging. So they specifically ran some for COVID vaccines, but also for the farmers market vouchers that we give out to folks who are over 60 and meet the income guidelines. And Lori Greco just told me earlier this week that year-to-date, it was the most successful campaign, if you will, of providing farmers market vouchers to more households than they ever have before. So that was great news. And I think at least one of the agencies that we work with for the rental assistance, it was information they were automatically giving folks. So we were excited about that. And I wish Mr. Myers was here, but these are the windows in the ORLTSR I got today about 3 hours ago. So this was the last thing that building was waiting for. And I understand Pastor Phil was here earlier, so I'm sure he's thrilled with his windows as well. So I believe they're anticipating a potential ribbon cut sometime mid to end of September. So hopefully that finish line is in sight as well. That's certainly a project that's taken a lot longer than any one of us anticipated. And the opioid settlement money, we are working on rolling out phase one of that plan, which the immediate focus is the fentanyl awareness campaign. So we assembled a small group of folks to talk about that. I'm following up tomorrow with a couple of the different advertising companies that we work with to put billboard campaigns together. And while that's important and will be sort of the first big public thing, we're really focusing on the social media campaigns as well, because we need to hit the youth in particular with the dangers of fentanyl. So that will be starting as well. That is it, Mr. Heckman. I could take questions.
Do you have any questions on aging or drug and alcohol? I know she mentioned the opioid settlement. And what's our amount? Do we?
So we're getting
I know there was-
approximately 11 million over 18 years.
Northampton County.
Northampton County. And so the first payment was about 500,000. There's another payment coming at the end of this year. It's around the same. And generally, the payments range between 400 and 800,000 a year, once a year for the next 16 years then.
Good. So are there any other questions, anything with Human Services? If not, I'll say thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Wondolowski, and anybody have anything else for Human Services Committee? If not, call for a motion to adjourn. I don't know if I need it for a committee, but we got it. We're out. Thank you.
Super awesome.
Thanks, Robin. Have a good night. What's that keep the same? Have a good night. See ya.
Oh, we have so much time. Like, we could play cards in the back or something. There's perfect game.
Go get something.
No, I had a really nice